Good day to the members of the panel. We are the third year Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English. I am Harold D. Pinongpong, and alongside with me are,
I am Jennifer Jauod.
And I am Adrian Isagani Arbozo.
and we are the researchers. Today we will present to you our research study entitled Strategies of Overcoming Fear of Speaking English as a Second Language among third year students of the College of Education in Notre Dame of Messiah College. Next page. Next slide. So to give you a background of our study, it says that speaking skills are one of the most crucial skills that enable us to communicate and converse successfully with others at any moment and in any situation. According to Trinity 2018, speaking is an important thing in life, especially for students in school. Speaking must be learned more, trained, must be focused on, and mastered by the students using English as a second language. Also, Ariska asserted that most students still have difficulties in speaking English. Causal factors of these problems are lack of motivation, feeling nervous to speak using the English language, lack of grammar mastery, lack of vocabulary, feeling afraid of making mistakes, student inhibition, nothing to say, and the use of mother tongue. Next slide. In relation to that citation, according to Kabagting et al. 2020, Philippines is one of the countries where English is one of the official English language is one of the official languages. It is therefore a must for educational institutions to promote and propagate the use of English through consistent instruction and communication. Teachers of English are the front runners to improve the English language skills of each English as a second language or each ESL learners. The academic institutions on the country play the most important role on how to propagate the use of language. Every student may master the art of speaking and writing in English as long as there is a constant use of the language inside the school, preferably elsewhere. English is considered to be the second language of our country, for it is used for institutional instruction in public and government documents and official business inside and outside the country. However, it says here, according to Always 2020, lack of proficiency in English language demonstrates the insufficient commitment of the particular students towards improving the English language skills as a secondary language as well as the mean of communication. So here in the Philippines, we considered English language as our second language and one of our official languages. And we know that in many higher educational institutions, English language is considered as the medium of communication and mean of instruction. And also English language, we use English language here in the Philippines in different types of communication, be it formal or informal. And in the education context or in school context, English language are used and considered as the mean of communication where learners or students or college, especially college students, are trained and encouraged to use English language or as a mean of instruction. However, we the researchers believe that students still have difficulties or still have fear within themselves in terms of speaking the English language. That's why we the researchers are interested to find out the strategies of overcoming the fear of speaking English language. So in the aims of this study were divided into two. First, the researchers investigated the various strategies of the college students in overcoming their fear of speaking English language as well as the causes of their fear. And second, a researcher-made questionnaire was administered and carried out to shed light on the causes of the fear and the strategies of overcoming the fear of speaking the English language among the third-year education students. So the next part is the literature review, and that will be presented by Mr. Jauod.
So good afternoon, everyone. I will be the one to present for the related literature. First one is the causes of anxiety. Causes related to the students' fear of speaking English language, being afraid of judgment because they are being laughed by other students, due to the lack of proper pronunciation and enunciation skills. Moreover, habitually speaking English language with their native language and overthinking what others might tell about their English speaking skills. So to summarize, it means that the factors that affect the speaking of English language of the student is that they don't want to be judged by the other student, and they have not a lack of um, skills, or they don't have enough skills in speaking where they have not enough good speaking capabilities, where the grammar is not good. So next slide. Fear in English as second language. The three most important reasons why there is fear of speaking English among students are fear of making errors, fear of failing, fear of being negatively evaluated, and limited English vocabulary, according to Sadighi and Daspak 2017. So the first one is the fear of making errors, because if you are going to make an errors, people will negatively evaluated you. So in that aspect, you are afraid to speak in English in other people, and that scenario will serve as the fear in speaking English as second language. And having limited English vocabulary, you don't have enough confidence to speak with other people because you are afraid. You have this fear in speaking English as second language to other people because you don't have enough vocabulary. And in that case, you cannot understand what other might spill or say to you. So next slide. So to mend those fear, we have these strategies. The first one is the cognitive strategies. The student must have many speaking learning experiences in developing their speaking skills. They will tend to have the higher level of speaking competency. Saputra and Subekti 2017. Another is various strategies can be applied in overcoming fear of speaking English as a second language, such as recording yourself while speaking and eventually identifying errors and correcting them after. By comparing how you speak to prominent public speakers and integrate their techniques in overcoming fear in public speaking, and by repeatedly speaking to yourself and monitoring the progress as a whole. So cognitive strategies are the learning strategies that we can put in our mind in order to let's say, organize it and repeat it, and to master it in order for us to speak English fluently and to overcome the fear in speaking English as a second language. So the second is strategies, effective strategies. Effective strategy, according to Enfiandi and Shafri 2017, is one of the most crucial strategies in the learning process. The affective side of a learner includes emotion, mood, perception, belief, and value. Affective strategies deals with how people or students speak with the low anxiety and communicate with others. Listening to music, where students were required to listen to music or an video clip, audio clip, I mean, that was chosen by the teacher. This strategy resulted to a well-spoken English speaking delivery after the student paid attention well too long. So in effective strategies, it's all about putting affection or putting emotion or motivation and learning or speaking English as a second language. So in this strategy, we could put love or emotion or positive positive experiences or positive thoughts about speaking English as second language. So let's proceed to social strategies. Social strategies, according to Ramayani 2018, so are defined as strategies which learners use their social environment, including the person around them, as reinforcement for their language learning and language speaking. Student can practice speaking with these peers, with their peers, I mean. Some of the students are lack confidence to speak in other languages than their native language. By practicing speaking with their friends, students will able to enhance their speaking skills as they are at the same level and age, according to Zakaria, Hashim, and Yunus 2019. So for the social strategies, we could use the social media in exchanging information. So from the strategies, it means using the environment. So um, using what is in around us. So our friends, the environment could be the factor in, or could be our strategy in overcoming the fear in speaking in English language, where we could use our friends to assess us or evaluate us what are the correct way of speaking English as second language. So let's proceed to theoretical framework to be presented by Isagani Arbozo.
Okay, so for the theoretical framework, so the present study was anchored on Horwitz and Cope's 1986 foreign second language learning anxiety theory. So anxiety is the subjective feeling of fear, tension, apprehension, nervousness, and worry associated with an arousal of the autonomic nervous system. That is according to Horwitz 2001. So they integrated three related anxieties in their conceptualization of language. That is namely communication apprehension, the fear of communicating with other people; test anxiety, the fear of exams, quizzes, and other assignments used to evaluate students' performance; and fear of negative evaluation, the worry about how others view the speaker; and concluded that anxiety could take place in any setting related to language performance. So that is according to Horwitz and Cope's 1986. So we decided to anchor our research about this because we focus on overcoming the fear in speaking English as a second language. Therefore, we need to know what are the root of the anxiety which causes the fear. So therefore, we choose this certain study in order to be our theoretical framework. So next is the conceptual framework that will be reported by Mr. Pinongpong.
So for our conceptual framework, this research paradigm shows how the research will take place through the IPO, or the input process output system. The input consists of the respondents' profile in terms of their sex, age, and ethnicity. And for the process, it involves the survey questionnaire, the statistical treatment of the data, and the data analysis. In this process part, the process to be used requires questionnaire survey to be analyzed and presented in order to generate answers for the research problems presented. And for the output, this presents the possible outcome of the researcher as well as its benefits. So in this conceptual framework, this somewhat like the process of our research. So for the first part, we will be gathering the information or the profile of the respondents in terms of their sex, age, and ethnicity by simply like determining their profile only. And also the process, this is where we are going to use our data gathering instrument, which is a survey questionnaire, to also to determine the profile of the respondents, and afterwards the data will be statistically treated with the help of our statistician, and also the result of this the statistical treatment of the data will be analyzed also for us to formulate or to come up with the output, which are the strategies of overcoming fear of speaking English language, and also the causes of the fear in speaking the English language. The next part is methodology, will be presented to you by Mr. Arbozo.
Okay,
Mr. William.
am I audible? Just wait. Wait for a minute. Okay, sorry for that short disturbance. So for the methodology, so our research design is descriptive, quantitative. That is because that we use descriptive because our research describes the strategies of overcoming fear of speaking English language of the students. So this study is also quantitative, for it used questionnaires or surveys in collecting the data. So next is the local and respondents of the study. So this study was conducted at Notre Dame of Messiah College, and our respondents are 68 third-year education students from the 7 majors of College of Education, namely English, Math Filipino, SOC-STUD, Science, BTVTED, and BPED. Next is the sampling procedure, stratified random sampling. Okay, we used our stratified random sampling design in our research in order to determine the number of respondents of the study. So a stratified random sample is obtained by dividing elements into equal groups of sample units called strata. Then out of the 248 third-year education students, the researchers chose randomly 10 students from each major or program for a total of 68 education students from Notre Dame of Messiah College. So for the research instrument, the researchers made a researcher-made questionnaire, which is rooted from the RL that the researchers provided. Next is the statistical tool. So the researchers utilized percentage distribution and frequency and ranking for their statistical tool and the treatment of the data. And next up is the results, or the SOP1 demographic profile of the respondents in terms of age, sex, and ethnicity. So this table shows the findings of the study, of our study. So it is shown here that in the results, the 21 to 22 years old indicates the greater number of respondents. And for the sex, most of our respondents are male. And for the ethnicity, most of our respondents are Cebuanos, with a grand total of 34 for the male, 45, and for the age 21 to 22 students, which means that most of our respondents are from the early adult age group. Next, findings for SOP2, which will be given by Mr. Jauod.
So for the SOP2 is the causes of fears in speaking English. The result shows the item within the highest frequency of 41 as the cause of fear of speaking English language under the statement, I am afraid of judgment and laughter of others when I speak English, which is, I lack confidence when speaking using the English language and described as rank 1. Also, the result shows the item as the cause of fear speaking English language with the lowest frequency of 6 under the statement, I have fear using English language when speaking, which is I have traumatic experience while speaking English and treated as rank 15. Based on the findings of the study, the results, I lack confidence when speaking English language and I do not have trust in my linguistic skills and competence gathered the highest frequency, which states that these are the causes of the third-year education students' fear in speaking English as second language. This implies that the students are afraid of judgment of the others when they speak English and they feel inferior of their English-speaking skills compared to their classmates and other colleagues. These findings agree to the Hidalguya 2018 in journal, The Students' Anxiety to Speak English in English Class. Most of the students got anxiety in speaking English because they did not have the confidence and they were afraid to commit a mistake. So let's proceed to SOP3.
Mr. Ichiran, please transfer the slide for the SOP3. So for this part, for the SOP3, these findings answered our question, our third question in the statement of the problem, which is the strategies in overcoming the fear of speaking the English language. So in this part, it is revealed that the item that got the highest frequency of 50 and considered as the major or the main strategy of the respondents in terms of overcoming their fear is by repeatedly speaking to myself and monitoring my errors as a whole. And this item is considered as rank one of among the items in strategies of overcoming the fear of speaking English language. And also the item which is exposing myself to oratorical speech and extemporaneous speech contest considered as the lowest item that got the lowest frequency of course of 14. This means that this item is less considered as the strategy in overcoming the fear of speaking English as a second language. And that also means that the first item that got the highest frequency of by repeatedly speaking to myself and monitoring my errors as a whole got to be considered as one as the major or as the main or as the primary strategy of the respondents in terms of overcoming their fear in speaking the English language. Next slide po. So these the items revealed that got the highest and the lowest frequency in terms of identifying the strategy of overcoming the fears of the respondents. According to Bardner 2021, public speaking is a common form of anxiety, and people experience some degree of anxiety or nervousness when it comes to speaking in front of the people. However, by repeatedly speaking to oneself and monitoring the progress as a whole will help in easing speaking using the English language. So these P3 that by repeatedly speaking and monitoring the progress as a whole will help in easing or overcoming the fear in speaking using the English language, and also connects to the citation or to the assertion of Mr. Barnard 2021. And for the lowest item that got the lowest frequency of 14, which is considered as the lowest lowest or the least considered strategy for the respondents in overcoming their fear of speaking the English language, is in not connection or in not relation to the citation or to the assertion of Mr. Pahari 2021, because he asserts that joining various events in English such as oratorical speech, extemporaneous speaking, spoken poetry, and public speaking could improve someone's speaking skill. They will be judged and they will receive comments from the judges that will help improve their speaking skills. Moreover, their training along the process is great help improving their speaking skills. So this means that if the respondents did not agree on joining oratorical speech or any types of oral activities as their strategy, however, Mr. Pahari asserted that this is a great help in improving their speaking skills, also meeting or impeding their fear in speaking the English language. For the next part, for the conclusion, this will be presented by Mr. Jauod.
So good afternoon once again. Based on the findings, it was revealed that the learners have fear in speaking English language, having a lack of confidence as major cause, while learners have fear in speaking the English as a second language. In order to cope with their fear, the learners evaluated themselves through speaking repeatedly to monitor errors as a strategy in overcoming fear in speaking English as a second language. So assessing ourselves, self-evaluation could be is helpful in overcoming the fear, in speaking English as a second language. So next slide.
So these are the recommendations that were drawn after finding out the strategies and the process of the fear of speaking English as a second language. So these are just recommendations for possible causes of action. First, administrators, teachers, and parents should work cooperatively to assess and educate students in developing the learners' English speaking skills. Also, the researchers would want to recommend that school administrators and teachers should strengthen their teaching strategies and methods that would boost the students' confidence in speaking using the English language. Also, the researchers would like also to recommend that school administrators and teachers must implement effective activities that would help the students engage themselves to overcome their fear of speaking and using the English language. Also, the College of Education must design a sustainable program that would drive students to speak more in English. Also, the school administrators, teachers, and parents should guide and support their learners in overcoming their fear of speaking using the English language by applying the strategies in overcoming the fear of speaking the English language. And lastly, the researchers would like to recommend that students should play their personal role as a student and give them much effort to speak more using the English language to further overcome their fear of speaking the English language. So the other recommendations will be presented by Mr. Arbozo.
Okay, so for the final recommendations, as we hit the 25-minute mark, for future researchers, a familiar study covering the whole college with application variables. Next up is factors influencing the fear of speaking the English language among college students. So that concludes our presentation of our thesis report. We hope our panel and Ma'am Ivy, we are looking forward to see you on June 13 for our defense. And that is all for our research. So this has been Adrian Isagani Arbozo along with
Jennifer Hawud.
Mr. Harold Pinongpong.
okay, so that is
So
all.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.